Alrighty, let's wrap up our lesson today for Richard Strauss II's piece Unter und Blitz. Now for 6th grade, for this high and low lesson, we have a couple of goals throughout this video. We are going to listen to some of the classical clips from the actual Thunder and Lightning piece by Richard Strauss. We are also going to look at the history of polka and how that ties in with emotion. We're going to actually find those high and low sounds by analyzing a small piece of the actual music from Unter und Blitz. So to begin, Unter und Blitz is a polka, and a polka is a lively bohemian dance that is felt in quick, short patterns of musical sound. So it is very movement oriented, as you can see in the picture to the right. There are many colors that come with this type of dance. It's very showy. It loves to have that complexity in not just the dance, but in the show as well, in the colors that the people are wearing, in the number of people that are dancing. The cool part about this polka is that in this case, we are going to see smaller movements. So they're more complex, but we see all these smaller movements with these dancers working for one goal. The entire body is moving in a sense to create this kind of atmosphere that's really cool and lively and fun. But the way that they do that is by using smaller movements in their feet and keeping the upper body still, maybe using ornaments in their dress, such as like jingle bells or anything that could be attached to their feet to make more sound. So all of these things tie into the polka to make it that lively and inviting kind of music. We also see a lot of variation, so the more the merrier. So when you see a bunch of people or a bunch of dancers doing the polka, you might see them all wearing the exact same thing, or you might see them wearing a bunch of different types of clothing, or doing different types of tap dance or footwork, or anything of that type of combination. But the cool part about Unter und Blitz is that it has musical opposites. So the polka, at the time that it was created, as you read in the history portion, wanted to be different than everything that was already created. So the way that they did this was using opposites. So instead of everything being just loud or just soft, or maybe even some slight combination of both, the polka era and the polka composers of that era definitely decided to make things very unique and very obvious, that something was very loud and something was very soft, or something was very fast and slow. Or, as we're working now, we can even see them using things like high and low. Higher instruments that make higher sounds, or lower instruments that make lower sounds. So we see then that this Unter und Blitz piece is not just a polka, but it's multiple parts working together. Not just what you could hear with the dance or the music, but also the musicians and all of their specific individual parts. And the cool part about this is that it's very complex, where we have a lot of musicians that are playing smaller parts that do fit together, but their ultimate goal is to make a whole piece sound, or all these small parts sound like one whole piece. So music and mood. Before we move on to finding these highs and lows, we need to understand that the polka, or this genre of music, was a time where we were trying to reflect how we were feeling, not just in our dance or in our spirit, in our nature, but we were also trying to reflect that in our mood. Were we genuinely having fun while playing this type of music? So music can definitely have an effect on our mood, and because this polka is very lively and inviting to most people, you're going to see different musical personalities throughout this piece. You don't want to get the sense that it's just two people dancing or two sounds of high and low. It's more like a story of people who are using these high and low sounds to add to a whole. It's about having that inviting experience. So you get to experience more than one thing. So these Unter und Blitz highs and lows have two main ideas. So the melody In the right hand, or the high sounds, is going to be our main theme, and then the lower sounds are just simply going to be the support or the accompaniment. So these unique personalities are what really create a really nice and inviting environment for Unter, Donner, und Blitz. So the high sounds are longer tones that are going to carry over the sound for the melody, and then the lower notes are the bouncier accompaniment to keep the melody moving and to keep it kind of not just bouncing literally, because that's what you'll see in the video of them playing, but you'll see that the left hand is there for movement, for variation. So it's not long and kind of flowing like the melody is in the high part, but in the lower part it's bouncier and choppier and shorter, so you also have that variety there like we were talking about. And last but not least, in the end, the high and low in this piece, they both can be quick and with short sounds. They both can play loud and soft. The cool part is they both have ornaments, which are just decorations of their basic role in the piece, and they take turns to be important. So even though we do have that main melody and that support for our high and low, for the high part of the piano and the low part of the piano, they each have these moments of sharing those roles. So the right hand can be quick, and the left hand can have those decorations. So these are really cool things to look at when we're looking at Unter, Donner, und Blitz. We have the high and low, but we definitely have some really cool things that affect it as well. The polka history and the basic emotion that can be associated with this type of music. So we're going to break this down. You have the original recording on your assignment page, but we're going to take a clip of that original recording. Let's listen to it now. Great, so there's the clip that we're using. We're going to break that down even further. So we went from using the whole clip to using just a small portion of it in the right hand with high sounds. Here it is again, a little bit lower and shorter. Alright, so we're going to play it again. This is the main part that we're breaking down. Alright, so we're going to take out the very first two quick notes, and those are the chords. Listen to them again. One last time, this is the part we're analyzing. And when we break it down to two notes out of the original, this is what we get. Great, so now what we're going to do is we're going to analyze that pattern. That pattern of is high, then low. So it is a high-low pattern. Let's listen to it one more time. So our job today is to find that high and then low sound. We're going to pretty much match those sounds. And we have two heartbeats that we're going to be doing that in. There's only two beats. Listen again. Two sounds, two beats. So let's find that very first sound. Listen to the two sounds again. Let's listen to our two sounds below. So these are the two sounds that are actually in our pattern above. When we listen to our pattern, we are trying to find that first note, which is a high sound. So which one of these is the high sound? Is it the first one on the left or the second one on the right? Good. It's the second one on the right. That is our first high sound. This high sound matches the first note in our pattern. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking for that low sound. And that other sound that we had here on the left, the first sound, sounds similar to that. So is this sound a high or low sound? Remember, our pattern is high-low. We already have our high, so what is our second sound? Is it high or low? Great, it's low. Good for you. So our pattern of high, low fits the example that we had for Unter, Donner, und Blitz. And to think, you analyzed a classical piece of music. Good for you. You did a wonderful job today. Please let me know if you have any questions about today's assignment.